Today we're going to talk about 5 ways of natural sleep and how to improve your sleep, which is only going to benefit your productivity, your energy waking up in the day, your feel-good factor, getting ready to take on the world. And what I've got something really special. I'm speaking to an expert in this area, Matt Farr, who is the creator of the Energy Formula, which is an incredible program that's going to help you just replenish your health from all angles. So Matt, welcome. Could you just maybe give us a little intro as to who you are and tell us a bit about that quickly?
Yeah, sure. So I've been working professionally in the health and wellness sector for about 15 years.
Yeah.
Working with people mostly one-to-one to help improve their energy levels, to transform their physique, their health. I think over that time I've worked now with over 500 people. Just bringing in lots and lots of different areas really, not just focusing on one thing. I started off as a personal trainer and then it's really expanded from there, bringing in nutrition, mindset, and all sorts of factors around lifestyle and environment that really dictate our health and our energy levels.
Awesome. So we're talking about sleep today, and I know that's an area of expertise that you know a lot about, and why it's important. Because I when I first got into health, I thought if I take care of my nutrition, it's like I can get away with 5 hours sleep, but the reality is that you can't. It's just going to lead to burnout. So just tell us a little bit more about why is sleep important.
Absolutely. Well, that is a little bit of a myth. Certainly the research on sleep tells us we all need a good amount of sleep, and 5 or 6 hours is simply not going to be enough. But sleep's going to impact everything. It's going to impact the way your brain functions. It's going to impact, obviously as a result of that, your productivity, your focus. It's also going to affect things like the way the body heals and repairs itself. It has a profound role of, how the DNA and our genes are healed, our cell function. It impacts our body's immune function, detoxification. Most of that happens when we're sleeping. It's going to impact our mood, our energy levels. It's going to impact our appetite. Even certain hormones are released when we're sleeping that influence our body composition, so our body fat levels.
Wow.
So many things. So many things.
Awesome. So could you just get into what are the 5 key things that you recommend for people to really enhance their sleep?
Yeah. Okay, great question. I think one thing to be clear on, overall what dictates our quality of sleep most of all is something called our circadian rhythm. So our circadian rhythm is a natural cycle, 24-hour cycle that dictates different hormones, enzyme pathways that take place throughout the 24 hours. So certain hormones are at high levels and then lower levels at certain times throughout that cycle. And if that's off, our well-being, our energy, everything's going to be off. So including our sleep. So our sleep and our circadian rhythm are very much connected. Circadian rhythm dictates our quality of sleep, and our sleep has a big influence on our circadian rhythm. So I think when it comes to improving sleep, the most powerful thing to do is to improve the circadian rhythm function. So there's, in answer to your question, really, I think the best way to look at it is what 5 things can we do to improve circadian rhythm function?
Okay. So with circadian rhythm, that's, I've often heard when you get that dip in the afternoon, is that a part of
Yeah, certainly I've heard that is a natural part of our of the cycle. Yeah. Absolutely, in the way our brain functions and hormones that influence that. That's partly that need for sleep increases in the afternoon after around 1 to 3 o'clock in the afternoon typically. A lot of people think that's because of, I've eaten a certain way, I've eaten too many carbohydrates or I've eaten too much fat. Actually, it's very much a part of that cycle, yeah. along with lots of other things that we see in the body.
Okay, great. So what would you say, like, what's the most important way to, to take care of?
Yeah, I think so. Probably there are a number of important factors that influence circadian rhythm. If we think of our body as a series of receptors, okay, there are certain signals that influence those receptors, influence the circadian rhythm and the way it flows and functions. So one of the most important, probably the most important, is light. Okay, so light influences the way the circadian rhythm functions. So, for example, one of the most important things is in the hours before bed, is we start to reduce the amount of light that we're exposed to. Okay, and that's in terms of the brightness and also the type of light that we're exposed to. So to think about this in simple terms, if you think about our ancestors, they at night, what happened? Were they surrounded by lots of light? No, the sun went down. The only light might be from a campfire. And that type of light is very different to the type of light that we're now exposed to in modern times, which is lots of artificial light. And the way that light is made up of, the color of the light, the frequencies of the light spectrum involved in that is very different. It's actually much more similar to sunlight. So for most of us, we are surrounding ourselves, giving our body the signal that it's the middle of the day. And the most important type of light in that is blue light. So blue light has the biggest influence in dictating that rhythm. So one of the most important things to do if you want to improve your sleep is to reduce your exposure to blue light.
Okay.
So blue light comes from things like computer screens, television screens, mobile devices. Most importantly, mobile devices, they have very high concentration of blue light. It's actually purposefully done that way because it brings vividness to the screen. So if we're using a mobile phone, for example, and a lot of people do, right before bed or even an hour or two before bed, the signal, the communication to our brain and to our cells is it's the middle of the afternoon. So it's no wonder that they're going to wake up tired, you're going to have trouble sleeping, getting to sleep. Or even if you do manage to get to sleep, it's going to interrupt all these delicate balance of hormones that get released.
What about like because they changed the colour of these bulbs now in people's rooms. Like it used to be the kind of, well, as in the filming industry, we call it like tungsten light. So it's more of a red light. But now even the bulbs are more blue.
Absolutely.
So we want to be changing the bulbs inside of our room to make sure that it's more aligned with...
Absolutely. So yeah, absolutely. You're quite right. Artificial light typically has a lot of blue light in it.
Yeah.
So we want to be focusing more towards the red or orange spectrum of light.
Yeah.
So rather than using, what you've probably got in your home right now, start using those kind of lights. Because again, it's not just coming from the screens, it's also coming from those sorts of lights as well. So yeah, that's one of the best things you can do. Then what's going to happen is, one of the things that will happen is your body will start producing a lot more melatonin at night. That means you're going to go into deeper phases of sleep. That means you're going to wake up feeling better. The natural cycle of the hormones is going to take place.
Great. Can I ask as well, the reality is now that people are just like looking at screens, iPads, phones, and to just eliminate that from our evening. Ideally, yes, I get that, but some people that seems like just an impossibility because of their lifestyles, right? And modern lifestyles and just how it is. So what is the solution? There must be some kind of solution that we can at least manage that in a way that we're altering the phases of that, light on our screens, or, can you share a little bit about that?
So what we can do is we can use certain technology or tools that help to filter that blue light. So if we can filter that blue light out, we can, use a device that's maybe got a higher concentration of the other aspects of the light spectrum. So we can do that in there's two ways, the most common ways. One is wearing special glasses that block out the blue light spectrum, blue blocking glasses. Or we can actually put software onto the computer. So these days, mobile phones, for example, a lot of them have inbuilt technology software to help reduce the blue light. They're not brilliant, I have to say, but there are some good bits of software out there. There's some not so good bits of software out there that do that. But even if better than not doing it at all, use that on what comes with your laptop, with your phone, or even get something like Flux, or there's all sorts of other software out there that's very good.
What's the one you recommend?
The one I use and the one I recommend to my clients is called Iris Tech.
Iris Tech.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's the best I've come across for filtering out blue light.
Okay, great. So top one number one priority is that we're reducing the blue light at a certain time of day. What time of day would you say we need to start considering that?
I'd say at least probably 2-3 hours before bed.
Okay.
I mean, if we really want to live in tune with nature, then as soon as the sun goes down.
Okay.
Obviously in the summer months, that might not be till quite close to bed. We can kind of get away. I'd still be reducing it though, because the thing is, even though the sun might be up in the evenings, it's not going to be very strong in blue light, because the frequency of light emitted by the sun changes throughout the day as well. So most blue light is in the afternoon.
Okay.
So even in the evening time, we want to be reducing it for sure. But yeah, at least 2-3 hours before bed.
Okay, awesome. And what would you say, so the second part to this is like what's...
Yeah, so linked into that, because of the importance of light, another really important thing is as soon as we wake up in the morning, we want to actually get exposure to light, because this rhythm, this circadian rhythm that takes place, this ebb and flow of all sorts of hormones and metabolic pathways, needs a signal to tell your body that we're awake, right?
I've just got my iPhone 5, just picked that up.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people do, right? Great, we're now going to tell our body it's the middle of the afternoon again and it's 7 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah.
So the best thing you can do is simply just get outside. Unfortunately, it's not just this case of sitting next to the window, because glass actually prevents a lot of the frequencies of light coming through. So we actually have to get outside, get in sunlight, or if it's a cloudy day, that's still better than nothing.
Okay. So so you say as soon as we wake up, we get outside, put some shoes on, just go for a walk or something like that?
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
Getting a bit of movement in. Again, that's another signal on our circadian rhythm as well.
Okay.
So, it needs to be in the first hour, basically.
First hour of waking?
Of waking, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. All right, what else?
I think another really important thing would be looking at movement. We just touched on it, but at night time, again, lots of movement is a signal to the body and to the circadian rhythm about what time of day it is. So that's telling your body it's daytime. But at night time, we want to tell our body that it's nighttime, right? So that all the processes can take place. So reducing movement and activity in the hours before bed is a really important thing to do as well.
Okay.
So, if you're somebody that's going to the gym late at night, an hour or two before bed, you're actually sending the body the wrong, not to mention the blue light you're going to be under in most of the gyms as well. You're sending the wrong signals at the wrong time of day. So trying to minimize the amount of activity that you do, whether it's physical or mental, but particularly physical.
So basically, best time to exercise is morning.
Morning or afternoon. Yeah, perfect. Any of those, that point. When the sun is up, that's when you want to be doing your exercise, basically.
Okay, but then beyond when the sun's down, you just need to let it lie. Okay.
Exactly.
All right, awesome. So what have you got some more tips on top of that?
Yeah, so what's that? You said 5, right?
Yeah.
So that's 3. Another really good one would be around food. So one of the things that takes place when we sleep is a process called autophagy. So autophagy is basically where the immune system comes in and recycles your cells and your proteins. Your and another process linked to that is something called mitophagy, which is the recycling of mitochondria. So obviously our body is made up of cells, so the healthier our cells, the healthier our bodies. And one of the things is when we sleep, autophagy takes place. Most of autophagy takes place when we're sleeping. That's recycling all the damaged DNA, all the damaged cells, the damaged proteins, the damaged mitochondria to make new ones. And if that process isn't happening when we're sleeping, we're waking up the next day with old, degenerated cells, degenerated DNA, etc. So one of the most important things is to ensure we make sure autophagy happens as much as possible. Okay, that's important to our health, to waking up energized. So cutting out food the hours before bed is really important for that, because autophagy only takes place in a fasted state.
Okay.
So 3 or 4 hours before bed, we want to be cutting out any food.
Okay.
It's also going to interfere with other hormones like leptin, which regulates our body fat levels. So if we're eating late at night, we're going to potentially encourage fat gain on the retention of fat in the body. And we're also going to inhibit those natural repair cycles of autophagy.
So if we're going to bed at 10 o'clock, we need to be, last meal needs to be complete by 6.
By 6, 7 o'clock.
Okay.
Yeah. So that, that we maximize. I mean, autophagy is going to happen even if we are at 10, but we've missed out on 3 or 4 hours of that process.
Okay. So say, again, just like taking it from a busy person's perspective and they don't finish work till 6:30, 7. And then they're kind of getting in and they've got to cook and it's like 8 o'clock. Maybe what would be, appreciating that's an important point of, just and the optimal way, what would be like the suboptimal way to deal with that? But just, 8 o'clock we're eating, but just what nutrition could we have that would still allow that to happen? But
well, the trouble is the biggest factor is protein that inhibits autophagy, but we don't want anything in the system. So I'd encourage people to eat as soon as possible. Maybe that means your food's prepared before you get home. Whether that's using like a slow cooker or something like that works quite well. Or maybe you're eating a lot of more raw foods where you don't need to prepare them so much. So obviously it depends on your diet as to what you're going to do, or maybe you eat before you leave work. It's just looking at how could you accommodate that as best you can.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there's no hack or quick fix here.
Sure.
If you've got food in the system, you've got food in the system.
Yeah. Okay. Great. And so that's nutrition in the right times of the day to eat.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
And what else? What's the kind of?
So the last thing I would say is really cutting down the stimulation. Cutting out stimulation to the body, to the mind. Because one of the things is, if we've got stimulation, we're going to be encouraging the wrong hormone release. So one thing we don't want a lot of when we're going to bed is cortisol. So cortisol, as I'm sure you're aware, is the main stress hormone in the body, but it suppresses melatonin production.
Okay.
So if you've got a lot of stimulation going on in your body, that's going to be taking place. Also, what's going on in the brain? When we sleep, we need to be going into the slower brainwave patterns. When we're operating in regular day-to-day life, we're in the higher brainwave patterns, what's called a beta state. So we need to retrain our brain to go into slower patterns. So that means avoiding anything that's too stimulating. So if you're sitting there watching a horror movie before you go to bed, or a thriller or something like that, it's going to be hugely stimulating to the brain. If you're working right up until you go to sleep, you're going to be very stimulating the brain. So now, you're going to be going into a heightened state going to sleep. So it's good to have like a practice. Things like meditation, or maybe just simply reading something gentle. There's lots of things you can do. Maybe a bit of yoga, or anything like that. It's just going to help to calm the system. Same in what I was talking about with movement. We want to cut that down. So we want to essentially prepare our bodies for sleep, so that when we go to sleep, we're going to go into those cycles. Because otherwise, what's going to happen is we're going to go we're going to enter sleep in a heightened state. It's going to interfere with the whole cycles of sleep. We're not going into the deeper phases of sleep. That means we don't get the rest, the repair, the regeneration our body needs when we're sleeping. So then we wake up and we're tired, we're achy, we're groggy, because those natural cycles haven't taken place, because we haven't prepared ourselves. It's like exercise. If you need to warm up, right, to exercise. In the same way, we need to do that for sleep.
So kind of winding down.
Absolutely.
That having a practice where you're winding your brain down. So
you're winding your brain, winding your body down, preparing it for sleep. Yeah, having a little routine, an hour, 90 minutes, start slowing things down before you go to sleep.
Okay, great. So what would you say, encapsulating all those 5 elements, what's going to be the difference in people now that haven't been great sleepers? How will that impact?
So what's going to happen is, first of all, those natural cycles that haven't been happening because of all the choices that people have been making around their sleep routine and what they do in the hours before bed, they're now going to take place. So now the body is going to suddenly start to repair it. So if you're somebody that experiences a lot of aches and pains and inflammation, you should see some improvements in that. You might even find that you're losing body fat easier. Your energy levels are going to go up.
Okay.
You're going to wake up feeling more alive.
Yeah.
Instead of hitting a snooze 5 times, you'll be getting up and getting ready and getting out in the sunlight, right?
Great. Yeah.
That's what I'm not saying it's going to happen overnight.
So
excuse the pun, but
yeah. But what sort of period of time do you think that we need to allow to get that natural cycle back in for someone that maybe hasn't?
It depends, because it depends how far away you've come from it, for how long. I would say most people should see a positive benefit of doing these types of things within a week or so.
Great.
In terms of truly retraining that rhythm, it might take 2 or 3 months to really help to, because most people have been living kind of the opposite of that for so many years. That's now entrained the wrong patterns. That you can't untrain that in a few days. But like I said, you can certainly see improvements and benefits in that short time.
Great. So would you what else, can I just touch as well on bedroom environment?
Absolutely.
That's I know you've kind of given the 5, but let's give a bonus one. What else is that environment? How do we create that environment? What's important inside of the bedroom?
Well, if we bring it back to what we just talked about, one of the things is lowering stimulation. So we don't want anything too stimulating in our bedroom environment. So stimulation might take the form of electronic devices. It's quite stimulating to the body. So trying to keep electronic devices out of the bedroom. But the most important thing would be keeping the room as dark as you can get it. So if you've got light coming in, whether it's light from outside or a light from even a tiny little red standby light from a television, is going to affect your sleep. So you need to eliminate all light from the bedroom. I recommend my clients use blackout blinds to get it nice and dark. So you can sleep in as dark a room as possible. You're going to allow that circadian rhythm to take place.
Okay.
So sleep environment nice and cool as well. You don't want it too warm.
Oh,
that
really?
induces melatonin release.
I didn't know that. So what you're saying is that actually, because I like it warm, but I like the window open.
Okay.
But I also like the combination of warmth but with a cool breeze.
Okay.
The
room temperature ideally should be below 20 degrees, 15 to 20 degrees when you're sleeping.
Okay, great. I didn't know that. That's really awesome.
Yeah.
I've got to touch on this because this is such. I think it's important. Like I do notice it. Maybe it's something that's just entrained in my brain, but switching Wi-Fi off, like what that has an impact.
Well, EMF, electromagnetic fields, emitted by things like Wi-Fi devices, mobile phones, has been shown to inhibit melatonin production. For one,
okay,
it can cause damage. It causes oxidative stress in the body, which causes all kinds of problems. It's a big factor in aging and disease. So absolutely, that makes perfect sense. So turning off Wi-Fi, turning off mobile phones, don't have any of that stuff on when you're sleeping. That's also very important for sure.
Like I've bought this awesome clock. I'm like super proud of it. It's got. Have you heard of it? Like it's called the Lumeri clock. It's literally just it kind of emanates the sun.
I've used them for 10 years. Actually.
Oh, you have? Awesome.
For the last 10 years I've had one. I don't have a Lumi, I have a Philips. But
Okay.
Lumi's very good as well. But they get brighter and brighter. And you're imitating sunlight when you're waking up, which is a much healthier way of waking up than an alarm screaming at you, for sure. I mean, obviously the best way is just to wake up naturally anyway. I don't know about you, but I find usually as long as I'm sleeping on, I'm in a good routine, I'll wake up naturally just as that light's coming on anyway.
Great. Awesome. So look, Matt, thank you so much. I just want to say, if this has been valuable, please subscribe to our channel, subscribe to Imagine Radiance, or if you're watching on Facebook, put the thumbs up, like our page, because we've got tons more videos coming your way. Thank you for watching, and we'll be back soon. Thank you very much, Matt.
Thank you.
Awesome.